Alrighty, a very, very, very happy Monday, and welcome to another week of the TNC Sports Talk. My name is Justin. Today is May 4th, so be may the force be with you here on this beautiful Monday. We got a lot to talk about today. A lot of sports, man. The Reds just did not play very well baseball over the weekend. They got swept by the Pirates. And I think it's what troubles me out of this the most is that we take this weekend sweep, and this is our really full first series where we struggled all around. There was not a single point in the game where we felt any ounce of confidence with this organization, with this team, offensively, defensively, even despite Chase Burns, 7 inning outing, it gets crumbled by the fact that we still lost 1-0 on Sunday and we got swept. And it was not a good start to our road trip, which now we got to go into Wrigley Field where the Cubs are playing really good baseball. We'll talk about that here in this hour. But we got to take on the Cubs in a 4-game series. Now, I told you back on Friday, I like to see the Reds finish off 4-3, 3-4. And now you have backed yourself up against the wall where, in order to do so, well, we're gonna have to win 3 out of 4 at least, if not sweep the Cubs this week, and that is a very difficult challenge at this moment. So we'll talk plenty of Reds baseball here on this program this hour. We'll talk about the uh, WWE, the Go Home Show on Monday Night Raw, going into WWE Backlash this Saturday. We'll also talk about other news that took place in sports that took place over the weekend. But you know, hey, want to reflect. It's May 4th. It is kind of Star Wars Day, I guess we resemble. Um, you know, and I guess I'm intrigued by you guys. What is your favorite Star Wars film? That's going to be the question of the day. And that's what I want to know. I'm going to ask that up on our Facebook page following this show. But what is your favorite Star Wars film to honor May 4th here today? I got it. I love the original. There's nothing that, don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with all the newer movies that has been sent out, published away from the original Lucasfilms. And, Disney's done themselves their due diligence to represent and to paint that image of for Star Wars fans in this generation. I think ending that story, getting a chance to bring back over the years, Harrison Ford and uh, you bring back Leia and all those great characters we love to see. It's been fun to watch, but I am a original film. No matter. And this one touched me is because, don't get me wrong, I actually prefer watching 1, 2, and 3. I prefer for me, 1, 2, and 3 provides depth to what the saga holds. Provides depth to watching, to understanding Anakin and his journey. And everything that I do, I love to reflect back onto, the details, the fine parts that maybe people don't pay attention to that explains a lot. So, as much as I like movies 1, 2, and 3, I do cherish 4, 5, and 6 much greater because of 1, 2, and 3. And so 4, 5, and 6, in my opinion, is great. Um, they kind of outbeat everything, and I specifically like number 6, the Star Wars film number 6. I am I like how the ending had it. I like the old version. I like the new version of it. Um, and I like how it if it was left off with that, the story made a complete circle and it valued its purpose. And so, you know, as you guys think about this, as you guys let me know down in the comments, that's my favorite movie, the sixth one, and but maybe you have a different one. So let me know down in the comments what your guys' favorite Star Wars film is today as we celebrate May 4th. So I want to just ask you guys, how was your weekend? What did you guys do? What sports did you guys watch? The Reds weren't in town. The Flying Pig marathon was down here. I did not get a chance to really tune into that, but what did you guys do this? To me, it was really much more of a relaxing weekend. I didn't really go out of the house this weekend. I really didn't accomplish anything this weekend other than trying to make sure that my content for the franchise mode in MLB The Show 26 was released at least during the same day as scheduled. That's something that I've been challenged with heading into this season is that the content that I'm providing for you for MLB The Show franchise mode, where we play as the Cincinnati Reds throughout the course of the 2026 season, as we also throw in some weekend marquee matchups. Over the weekend, we saw the Dodgers and Cardinals. We saw the Sunday Night Baseball and the Rangers and the Tigers. On top of that, trying to get you the games of the Reds series, which they were in Pittsburgh. So I didn't I didn't successfully publish them at the according time of publication as scheduled, but I was able to get them out throughout the day. And so we're moving on to our next series, which is the Chicago Cubs. I have everything lined out. I have yet to play the game. I know, according to MLB, their games throughout the week is in the evening times. According to MLB The Show 26, their games are at 2 o'clock. So I'm a little behind according to MLB The Show, but I'm going to try to get these games done immediately following this program. But other than that, got a chance to watch the Kentucky Derby, um, and found myself, man, it was a very fun time. I love the Kentucky Derby. I'm not Horse racing is something that I would have on in the background, and I will just find my way some sort of time just being memorized, of watching horse racing. And when it comes down to the Kentucky Derby, it's a big deal for me. I like to see who's wins. I like to at least uh educate myself and who took partake in the event. Um like I said, this all dated back to my time growing up in San Diego where they have the Del Mar Fairgrounds. And so congratulations to Golden Tempo, who won the 152nd Kentucky Derby on Saturday. Jockey rider Jose Ortiz won his first Kentucky Derby after competing over 12 races. And I think this is Sherry Duvall, who became the first female trainer to win the Kentucky Derby. So congratulations to the entire team, the entire party. And, I think it was the most historical moment. This is the reason why it will go down in one of the greatest races of all time, um, is because the ending of the race where Golden Tempo was making the last stretch. He was in dead last. And a matter of fact, how they explained it was that Golden Tempo was a horse who's always finished at the bottom of each race throughout his tenure. And I don't know what sparked, I don't know what prevailed, but he took the outside edge right behind and Jose Ortiz, his brother, was riding Renegade, who was one of my favorites to win and one of the favorites in the odds to win. And he read right behind him, took him on the outside, and both Renegade and Golden Tempo surpassed the entire group and both finished one first and second place. And I thought that was incredible. Such a special moment in the Kentucky Derby this year, which the reason why, you know, it should be something we watch more often. And it kicks off a year long of horse racing and competition. And, uh, great for Golden Tempo. I don't know what's next for him. Now, there's a lot of speculations and hopefulness that he'd go on and advance to the try to win a triple crown, but only time will tell. And there's just a lot of greatness just took place back on Saturday. So fun time. If you guys got a chance to watch it, let me know what you guys think about the Golden Tempo winning. Also, interesting fact about this is that Jose Ortiz raced the night before, which is considered Kentucky Oaks, and he ended up winning that race. So winning double races over the weekend, and it was a great moment through and through. So that was kind of my take over the weekend. Like I said, let me know what you guys did. I want to hear what you guys had to do. But that was pretty much it. All right. So let's talk about those Cincinnati Reds. 'Cause it was very, it kind of cut all momentum that we had heading this into this the month of May. I'll tell you that. After winning 5 consecutive series, to lose against, and not only just lose, but to be swept by the Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, I knew from the beginning, heading into the weekend, that the challenge was fitted. Okay. Pirates came into Great American Ballpark. They took 2 out of 3 back at the beginning of April. So I knew that there was going to be a challenge on our hands. But not losing, maybe I could accept a 3-game sweep on the road against the Pirates, but to do it in the fashion that we did it in, I'm not too happy about. And if you're a Reds fan and you're waking up this morning and you're trying to find whatever fan excitement you have for this organization as they head out to Chicago to begin a 4-game series, I don't blame you. I'm trying to find an ounce of excitement heading into tonight's game alone because, to be honest, after playing so well, the Reds getting swept by the Pirates, it's gut wrenching. All of my fears come true. The Pirates seem to have the Redlegs numbers this season. And I believe, if I'm not mistaken, they only see them 2 more times this year. Matter of fact, I'll go ahead and confirm that for you. The next time that they see the Pirates is at the end of June, where they're in Pittsburgh. Then they will see them at the end of July, and that's it. Now, Pittsburgh Pirates is not going to be the defining series for the Reds' determination if they're going to make it to the playoffs or not. But a series loss like this can really begin a wave that doesn't look good for the Reds in the upcoming stretches. We got 4 games against the Cubs. We got 3 games against the Astros before we have a day off, which is next Monday. It's a quick turnaround. We have to. Matter of fact, I was in service yesterday, and my pastor was even saying it's about forgetting your past. Let's apply this to the Reds. Getting swept in Pittsburgh quickly. Let's go ahead and put this behind us so that we can worry about our future. And our future is what lies ahead, and that's the Chicago Cubs. It's the Houston Astros. And so, you know, we have to find a way to push this back. 17 runs on Saturday. We were a 10-run differential. The Pirates put a total of 27 runs to the Reds 8. They were shut out on Sunday, and the only good outcome over the series was the 7 innings of perfect pitching by Chase Burns, where he only allowed 3 hits and 7 strikeouts, but that went a wayside when Tony Santillan came in and he gave up a run. He allowed 2 walks to his resume. Look at this, 2, 4, just 12 plus into the 4. That's 16 walks allowed just by a handful of pitchers of the Reds. I don't know what the total number is, but it's not a fun number. Brady Singer on Friday went 3 1/3 inning. Rhett Lauder had one of his worst outings, only pitching an inning and a third. In a combination where Rhett Lauder and Connor Phillips had thrown 7 consecutive walks, which tied Major League's history with the most consecutive walks recorded in baseball. That date goes back to the last time as remembrance, May 25th of 1983, where the Atlanta Braves took on the Pirates, and there was a Pirates, Jim Bibby and Jim Wynn, who threw 7 consecutive walks in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Prior to that was on August 28th of 1903, in a game against the White Sox and the Nationals, where the Nationals were called the Senators at the time, and the Nationals threw 7 consecutive walks in the bottom of the 2nd inning. That is not on the flip side of history that we want to be on with this Reds organization. Troublesome, to say the least. We lose 9-1 on Friday, 17-7 on Saturday, and 1-0 on Sunday. Jose Trevino, our catcher, pitched in both Friday and Saturday's game. On Friday, he didn't give up a hit, didn't give up a run. He walked a batter and struck out a batter. And then on Saturday's game, he gave up 5 hits, 2 runs, no walks, no strikeouts. And I get it. Look, we're all going to have these times throughout the season. I guess let's do it now than wait until September when we really don't have any room to do it. The Reds are going to face these up and down battles. It's part of the season. The Dodgers just got done losing a series to Miami and losing the series against the Cardinals over the weekend. They dropped 4 consecutive games before picking up a victory on Sunday. So even the best teams go through cold streaks where things just don't go their way. I guess what hurts a little bit is that we are in a National League Central division that is very competitive, where there's almost seems like there's no room or ounce of, failures that we can allow from this organization because of how close you are. Let me put it in this perspective. We started Friday in first place. We started the month of May in first place of the NL Central. Now we are in 3rd place. And this just comes to show how one series right now, this early on in baseball, can change the whole narrative of what a division looks like. Pittsburgh Pirates still in last place, but they face a 3-game winning record. They're only a game, maybe a game and a half behind the Cincinnati Reds, and the Chicago Cubs. Put it the difference, between the Cubs and the Pirates, first and last, about 3 games. And the last thing that we want to do is to change the direction in the great month of April that we performed out of and continue that into the month of May. Well, there are, I think, some good things coming out of this, and I want to share those good things coming out of this. So let's give you guys a Cincinnati Reds injury report on a Monday. As of today, this is where we're looking at. Let's look at some good news, okay? Nick Lodolo is starting to make progress. He threw 79 pitches and 4 1/3 of an inning on a rehab assignment with the Louisville Bats in AAA on Saturday. Targeting season's debut is this Friday, May the 8th, against the Astros at Great American Ballpark. That's great news. He's been dealing with this blister on his left index finger, his throwing hand. He's been out since the beginning, right before the season actually began. So that, the idea is that we could potentially see him return this Friday, which would help out with the rotation that we have. Let's not forget, we put a lot of pressure on guys like Chase Burns, guys like Brett Lauder, guys like Brandon Williamson. And when you look at Brandon Williamson and Brett Lauder, these are guys coming off of injuries. These are guys who we expected to start down in the minor leagues to begin the season, kind of work their way into things. And we've called them up early on. Now, it's great. They've been holding down the fort quite nicely. It's been a give and take. But to add another lefty to that lineup here in Nick Lodolo, take a little bit off of Andrew Abbott, add on to the rotation, it makes forward progress. Still counting down the days to when Hunter Green returns, right? And so, you know, I'm not expecting every outing to be a good outing. This definitely was a weekend that it wasn't a good outing. I'm upset with myself because we had a great performance out of Chase Burns, who pitched 7 innings, not giving up a single run, and he still picked up the loss, over the weekend. So it's definitely upsetting, but some good news that we could see Nick Lodolo at the end of the week. Caleb Ferguson, expected to return at some point this month. He's dealing with a right oblique strain. He threw 16 pitches, 12 of them being strikes in 1 inning in Double-A back on Friday. His second rehab outing expected to pitch at least 2 or more games in Triple-A. That was updated also on Saturday. So we're hoping to see him as he makes progress coming back. Brandon Williamson, who doesn't have an expected return date, he was placed on the IL April 30th due to a left shoulder fatigueness. MRI showed no structural issues with Williams received, which is great. But that also means that there is just no timetable. It's not like there's a tear, not like there's a strain, or even, that requires surgery or a physical, restriction, which means it's just up in the air. So hopefully things turn around and we can see Brandon Williamson at least either not return at the major league level or get brought back to AAA here soon. Suarez is dealing with the oblique strain, was placed back on April 25th. He was placed on the 10-day IL. But there is just no hopes to travel with the team on the road trip and continue that with Chicago and get a scan to see where he stands. Still no, like I said, uncertain about his his return. Transactions made. So on Friday, Graham Ashcraft was activated from his bereavement list. So he was back up on the roster. Zach Maxwell was optioned on Saturday down to AAA. Nick Lodolo on that rehab yesterday, May 3rd. Pierce Johnson was placed on the bereavement list. Blake Dunn, outfielder, was recalled to AAA Louisville from AAA. So he's on the major league roster. And Reese Hines is being brought down to AAA as well. So if you think about this, a couple of different moves here in the month of May, we have spent the first couple of weeks of the season looking at Noelvi Marte. That didn't work out. He was not living up to his expectations. Reese Hines was playing very well in AAA, got called up, spent a couple of weeks at the major league level. That didn't turn out as well. So he got sent down. Blake Dunn is getting that call up and that opportunity at the major league level. So we are going through our outfield options, trying to find what works, what doesn't work. Expect to see that here continue. I appreciate the motive, the standards that Terry Francona and the coaching staff has had for the Cincinnati Reds and their outfields. We have a lot of depth. It's what's going to work at the major league level. And as we try to fit that out, we're not afraid to send people down, which is usually un, uncertain about this time of year, right? But at the same time, we have to figure it out now rather than figuring it out in August. Right-handed pitcher Zach Maxwell was recalled from AAA, so he has replaced Pierce Johnson. So he was basically called down on Saturday. But by the time he gets down to Louisville, he's back up there with because of Pierce Johnson. So that is your transactions heading into today. And we hope to be able to turn things around and to be able to have a better outcome as we head into a 4-game series against the Chicago Cubs. Let's take a look at what's also. I want to also bring this up before we get into our next segment. Andrew Chafin was a pitcher who we called upon in a minor league option with the Cincinnati Reds. He's been playing down in AAA. He's opted out of his minor league deal with the Reds, and now he's became a free agent. There was really no specific role with him to say. I really didn't really know too much about him or paid attention to him. I think he fit quite well in our AAA play, but look, he's a pitcher who wants to be at the major league level. He wants to perform with the big leagues, and that's how it is. So we'll wish him the best of luck, and who knows? Maybe we'll see him a little bit later on. Over the weekend, the Chicago Cubs swept the Arizona Diamondbacks. Cubs are playing really good baseball as of late. And that was taking place at Wrigley Field. So the Cubs get to continue their home stance and their really good baseball playing as the Cubs come into town. We'll get to that in a moment. Milwaukee took 2 out of 3 in Washington, winning Friday and Saturday, losing Sunday. And the Cardinals took 2 out of 3 against the Dodgers, winning 2 out of 3 Friday and Saturday. Look, the Dodgers, I'm going to say this. It doesn't matter what part of the season you're playing them in. The Dodgers are one of the teams to beat in not just the National League, but all of Major League Baseball. So tip my cap to the St. Louis Cardinals, something the Cubs couldn't do, but to conquer the Dodgers 2 out of 3 over the weekend just really shows that this young team is really fighting their way through, and it shows in the standings. Chicago Cubs lead the NL Central 22-12 record. The St. Louis Cardinals are in second place, tied with the Cincinnati Reds, but currently placed ahead of them with a 20-14 record. The Milwaukee Brewers have an 18-15 record in fourth place, and the Pittsburgh Pirates 19-16 in last place. Heading into big series that begins tonight, you guys could check out on MLB TV the Milwaukee Brewers and St. Louis Cardinals begin a series. First pitch at 7:45. Chad Patrick, right-handed pitcher, will be on the mound for Milwaukee as Cardinals will send out right-handed pitcher Kyle Leahy on the mound. The Pittsburgh Pirates will head out to Arizona to take on the Diamondbacks in a series that begins tomorrow. Tonight, the Cincinnati Reds begin a 4-game series against the Chicago Cubs at Wrigley Field. The 20-14 Reds will send out right-handed pitcher Chase Petty, who got called up over the weekend to get the nod due to Brandon Williamson being sent being sent down. He'll go up against the 22-12 right-handed pitcher or Cubs. He'll be facing the right-handed pitcher Edward Cabrera, who's 3-0 with a 3.06 ERA. Edward Cabrera, he last pitched on April 28th against the San Diego Padres. He pitched 5 2/3 of an inning, giving up 6 hits on 3 runs, 1 walk, and 7 strikeouts. Chase Petty, who spent his time down at AAA since the beginning of the season, he's 2-2 on a record with a 4.38 ERA. In 6 games he's pitched, all starting games, he's pitched 24 2/3 of an inning, giving up 22 hits, 12 runs, 3 home runs allowed, 11 walks, 29 strikeouts. A team batting average against Petty is 232. Watch the game tonight on Reds TV, Gray Media, or even Fox 19, or you can listen to the Reds on WLW 700. Major League Baseball leading records heading into May 4th today. The Atlanta Braves had the best record in all of baseball with a 25-10 record, following the New York Yankees with 23-11, Chicago Cubs at 22-12, and the Los Angeles Dodgers at 21-13. We want to pay our respects and shout out and our condolences to Yankees longtime radio voice John Sterling, who passed away at the age of 87 years old. When we talk about, I love radio, I love sports radio, I love broadcasting radio. There's a lot of people that have influenced me and to the direction that I am in today. And uh, you talk about, I grew up on, you know, guys like, Jerry Coleman, and grew up on guys like Ted Leitner, and so many, Vince Scully, and when you think of iconic radio broadcasters, you have to throw in the name of John Sterling, uh, just iconic voice on the radio, especially when you listen to the Yankees. So, uh, you truly be missed, and our condolences go out to his family and friends. Also, other MLB news: MLB TV moves into the month of May and has lowered their price down to 139.99. If you want to get all the out of market games, check out MLB TV for more information. All right, let's take a look at what's going down on the farm. The AAA Louisville Bats had a four took a 4 out of 6 game series on the road against the Omaha Storm Chasers over the this past week. The Storm Chasers are the AAA affiliates to the Kansas City Royals. They are also now 20-13 on their season, 7-3 over the last 10 games with a 1 game winning streak. They are in second place of the International League West Division. They have today off, headed back home to host the Nashville Sounds in a 6 game series that begins tomorrow and concludes on Sunday. The Sounds are the AAA affiliates to the Milwaukee Brewers. The Chattanooga Lookouts, the AA affiliates to the Cincinnati Reds, had a series where they took 4 out of 6 against the Birmingham Barons over this past week, the Chicago White Sox Double-A affiliates. They took the series at home, moving to 18-19, 4-6 over the last 10 games on a 3 game losing streak, and actually they only took 2 out of 6. I read that wrong. They lost Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Wrapping up their series, they are headed on the road to Montgomery to take on the Biscuits beginning tomorrow and concludes on Sunday. Montgomery Biscuits are the Double-A affiliates to the Tampa Bay Rays. The Dayton Dragons had a tough 7 game road trip this past week against the Lansing Lugnuts. Lugnuts are the Athletic High A affiliates And they had the Dragons and Lugnuts had a doubleheader on Wednesday where the Dragons took both games, beating the Lugnuts 5-2 in the game one and shutting them out 7-0 in game two. They dropped two on Thursday and Friday, picking up Saturday victory and losing 15-7 on Sunday. Dayton Dragons moved to 13-14. They are 5-5 in the last 10 games. They are on a one-game losing streak, and they are in third place of the Midwest League East. Their next coming up game will be tomorrow, May the 5th, where they continue the road trip to the West Michigan Whitecaps. That will conclude on Sunday. The Whitecaps are the High A affiliate to the Detroit Tigers. That is your down on the farm lookout. Cincinnati Bearcats took a sweep over the Houston Cougars on the road, taking 3-0. Having a doubleheader on Saturday, winning on Sunday. They won the first game 3-2, second game 8-1, and the finale 4-3. Bearcats move out to 32-17 record. They are 13-11 in conference play on a 5-game winning streak. 17-6 at home, 14-11 on the road, and 1-0 on neutral locations. The next game is on Tuesday, May the 5th, where they remain on the road in Tulsa, Oklahoma, to take on the Oral Roberts Golden Eagles. First pitch at Chapman Park, scheduled for 7 p.m. That is your Cincinnati Bearcats review. NBA playoffs continue here, and round number 2 set to take place tonight. Before we could do that, let's take you a look at what took place over the weekend. Beginning on Friday, the Detroit Pistons came back and beat the Orlando Magic 93-79, tying the series and forcing a Game 7. The Toronto Raptors also came back to tie the series in overtime, beating the Cleveland Cavaliers 112-110. And then the Lakers sealed the deal against the Houston Rockets, taking 4 out of 6, beating the Rockets 98-78 on Friday. On Saturday, only one game took place as the 76ers beat the Celtics 109-100, knocking the Celtics out of the playoffs. They also came back from being down in the series. On Sunday, the Pistons continue their role, beating the Magic 116-94. They end up winning the series and advance in the NBA playoffs, as well as the Cavaliers, who beat the Raptors 114-102. Today, round 2 begins as we have 2 games on the board. To tip off for the first game is tonight at 8 p.m. on NBC. The 76ers will begin a series against the New York Knicks at Madison Square Garden. Tonight's game in New York. At 9:30 on NBCS, the Minnesota Timberwolves will take on the San Antonio Spurs at the Frostbake Center in San Antonio, Texas. A quick preview of what to expect headed down the road. Tomorrow, NBA playoffs continue. The Cleveland Cavaliers take on the Detroit Pistons at 7 p.m. at the Little Caesars Arena in Detroit, Michigan. That game is available on NBCS. And on Tuesday, we'll see at 8:30, the Lakers take on the Oklahoma City Thunder. That tip-off is also available on NBC. For more information, you can check out CBSSports.com. Also, ahead post the first round of the NBA playoffs, Orlando Magic fire Jamal Mosley, Orlando's head coach, out after blowing a 1-3 playoff lead against the Pistons. Magic are expected to compete for the Eastern Conference title this season and never came close. The Orlando Magic has fired, according to the article, head coach Jamal Mosley. The team announced on Monday, just hours after being eliminated from the playoffs. This move was one of the more anticipated coaching changes in the NBA throughout the 2025-26 season, as Orlando, fresh off of a blockbuster trade acquisition of Desmond Bane, several disappointed in the season in which they were expected to seriously compete for the Eastern Conference crown. However, their postseason easily could have changed everything. You can finish reading the article on CBSSports.com. It was written by Sam Quinn, but that is a very tough, um, tough break. And when you're in the playoffs and or you're up to a 3-1 lead or you're 3-0 lead, especially when you're given 7 games and you allow another team to come back and outbeat you, something has to change. And I don't always see the Orlando Magic's up there, and these opportunities are so few for most people. So when you make a big move and you acquire some really good talent among the list and it only sets up for failure, something has to be done and dealt with. That is your NBA playoff news. All right, let's continue. I want to bring up a brief conversation with the an article I saw on Cincy Jungle this morning. The title of the article was DeAndre Hopkins, wide receiver, wants to play with Joe Burrow and the Bengals. It was written by Jason uh, Garrison on cincyjungle.com. You can check out the article yourself, but DeAndre Hopkins was interviewed and told Sports Illustrated that, when asked which quarterback he'd love to play for, he said, and I quote, "I got to go with Joe Burrow." Goes on to say at the Kentucky Derby that he attended, he said to Sports Illustrated, "I think Joe is one of the best. I love his game, his toughness. I mean, he took his team to the Super Bowl early in his career, and I feel like he could get back there with a little bit of help." And so just think about this for a second. The possible notion, what would be a fantasy dream if DeAndre Hopkins finds a way to the Cincinnati Bengals? I'm just hypothetically speaking here. DeAndre Hopkins added on as either a 1, 2, 3 receiver, along with Chase, along with T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. That would, for me, that would be a wish commit. That would be something that I could see. For example, my brother does this all the time. He will take the game and he will make his own roster. He would add his own players to it. And sometimes the rosters are like, that's unideal. If you were able to throw in a DeAndre Hopkins, first of all, I think if you, I would instantly forget about adding another defensive player if the Bengals found a magical way to get DeAndre Hopkins. He is more of a veteran at the receiver position, but you think about your top 3 receivers because they're all one slot receivers. Jamar Chase is one slot. T. Higgins, if he went to any other team, he's a one slot. And DeAndre Hopkins is a one slot. It doesn't matter where you put them. You have 3 very dangerous receivers out there that Joe Burrow has the option to go with. And entertain my fantasy for a little bit. Wouldn't that be incredible to really stack our players that way? And let's just say, there's multiple things that you could do in this scenario. You could have them all 3 on the field at once. You could have one or 2 of them, rotating in and out so you keep a fresh top receiver available. I mean, the options are endless, and I really think that opposes a threat to any defense out there that we are facing, that Joe Burrow has unlimited options to go with. And because the defense is only going to be able to defend so many receivers, someone's going to be open. I would trouble to find a gray area in that other than finances, payroll, stability. So just let's entertain the idea. DeAndre Hopkins would love to play with Joe Burrow. If Joe Burrow and DeAndre Hopkins makes that dream come true, along with Jamar Chase, along with T. Higgins, I don't know if you would have to deal with one of them away, but what would that do to does that solidify a championship victory if that's something that we could do? Man, fantasy's running wild here at the moment, right? Um, man, it's just something to think about on a Monday heading into the week. Like I said, all hypothetical. Really doubt it's going to happen. It would be cool if we did see this happen, but yet again, who knows? If so far Duke Tobin and Mike Brown has been listening to Bengals fans and what the Bengals need. Do we really need another receiver to add on to that? Well, I don't know, but thought that was a cool read. It's on Cincy Jungle. You guys can read it yourself if you guys want to be entertained. Let me know down in the comments what you guys think of that possibility. All right, moving over to the WWE, we are on the backstretch of WWE Backlash, which takes place this weekend in Tampa, Florida on May 9th. We'll go over the match card here in just a little bit, but I want to get to the weekend news. My brother actually broke this out to me on Saturday that the WWE has went forward to releasing Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, JC Mateo, and Tonga Loa from the WWE over the weekend. And a matter of fact, from my understanding after reading into this, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods have had requested a release. The WWE has granted them for. And this kind of marks the ending of the New Day. Obviously, in the WWE, the New Day has not been utilized in well thought out roles. They kind of just been filling in here and there. They uh, we've done skits with Danhausen and Grayson Waller, but the WWE New Day, Kofi Kingston and Xavier Woods feel like it's time for them to go explore their options, requested a release, and has been granted. Um, I think what it doesn't surprise me, but it upsets me a little bit. Not because they are released, but because this is an ending of an era that came from the New Day. For the past 10, 15 years, the New Day has been one of the pivotal tag team factions that have defined what the tag team division held by. Obviously, winning several championships, hosting WrestleManias, comical, bringing the bootios and cereal, and just throwing out the pancakes. It was a fun feel, re-vibrant to whenever they had a scene. Whether you like them, you hate them, undeniably one of the greatest modern day tag team, you know, organizations who'd ever been created. And they just all fell into replace. You think about this. What was next for Big D, Kofi Kingston, and even Xavier Woods, who really never gotten that spotlight if it wasn't for the uniting of the New Day? Now, it was also unfortunate that Big E was injured, suffered a career-ending injury. Now he's moved over to the commentating side. But, look, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, is there more to do in the WWE? They tried to turn heel, didn't really quite kind of work. I don't blame them. Um, and the honest answer, at least in my opinion, you let me know down in the comments if you feel elsewhere. I don't see there's nothing else that the WWE could do at the moment for them. Obviously, there's been this big push right now as as this family is coming back out of the market. For the last couple of years, Roman Reigns, VAT2 set to take way on Sunday or on Saturday, and there's just no direction. So why keep them? Release them. Let them go off, whether that's a AEW, TNA, whatever wrestling promotion, whether they even step outside of wrestling. Let them go do what they need to do. That's my big take about the recent releases earlier this spring, is that if they're not being utilized, allow them to go explore their options. WWE no longer has so many shows, so much talent in there that is being wasted. Let them go talent. And when the time comes, if the time comes where they can find creativity in a role that they could play, then let's bring them back. But I felt like this was a safe move. You open up some roster spaces for other people to come in. JC Mateo, you didn't really see much coming out of that when his time with the MFTs. Tongaloa, a little bit of surprise, but like I said yet again, this is something that um, I think what comes to a surprise is how Solo Sokoa and MFTs have also been, uh, in that spotlight recently, but they're kind of just cleaning out house. So I wish all four men the best of luck in whatever their future holds. I support them dearly. I do hope that there's no bad relationships between them and the WWE. And, I guess we will wait and see what's next for them as time progresses. Also, it's kind of been rumored here from the WWE over the last earlier this Roman Reigns wins the title at WrestleMania. He goes on the booth after the show and tells the WWE universe that this quote unquote part time crap with him is over with. He's going to be here throughout the summertime, and he's going to be making appearance. Where there's new reports now indicating that Roman Reigns will has been removed from scheduling in June. And I guess what it look like on the reason is, maybe it's unclear. It's only a rumor. So the rumors speculate that Roman Reigns is not going to be a part of Saudi Arabia's Night of Champions. Therefore, they are going to remove him from the month of June because that's on June 27th. And so that he doesn't have anything to do with that. I don't know what the detailed reasons on. Is there a reason why he's not a part of that? Are they taking a shift change where they write him out somehow and um of that frame for a while? Is it for new opportunities with other talent? Are they keeping him away from Saudi for WrestleMania next year? Which could be a possibility. There's countless of reasons why the WWE has decided that they are going to write him out. Now, this kind of goes against what he said earlier back at WrestleMania, how this part-time crap has stopped. Well, he's here for the next month. He has a match against Jacob Fatu this Saturday at Backlash. It's going to be interesting to see. And what's going to be fascinating to me, I don't want to jump to the contradiction of, well, he's hypocritical because he's not. I don't think he is. There's no reason why he would go out there and say, "Oh, well, I'm going to be back full time," but then go behind our backs and say, "Oh, I'm going to be written off of TV in June." There has to be a legitimate reason that maybe the WWE, excuse me, recently stumbled upon that said, "Oh no, maybe we made a big mistake." I don't think. I think that the reasoning is much greater that we would have to wait and see. And I feel like he comes back in July because unless injury prevails, unless violation of contract briefs his point, I don't see any other reason why he wouldn't hold to his word that he's going to be around throughout the summertime. So think of it however you want to think of it. I'm not bailing out on the option. Yeah, it's kind of, disappointing in knowing ahead of time if that's the case. If he's not going to be available in June, kind of sets the tone. Or do you really want to watch it? If you are only a Roman Reigns fan, do you watch it? But I'm sure there's something else that could be told in between there. But um, as we learn more, we will let you know. I don't think it's something that we really should be too big about. Also, John Cena has been announced that he will make his appearance at WWE Black Backlash for a major announcement. It says here on Cage Size Seats that John Cena officially headed to WWE Backlash for history breaking news. And recently retired Never Seen 17 will definitely be in Tampa on Saturday. He is promising to bring something big. A consummate hype man, it took John Cena no time at all seamlessly to go from a jorts of merch wearing WWE spokesperson to a suit and tie wearing WWE spokesperson. He hosted WrestleMania 42 earlier this year in Las Vegas. Now he expected to be at Tampa, Florida, for Backlash for a big announcement. What that announcement is, don't know, don't care. We'll find out on Saturday. It's not like I don't care. I care, but don't care to know right now. Keep that a hush hush for me. And last but not least, WWE Raw is setting for tonight. Two um the go home show to Backlash is set to appear. Here's what the match card has to look like. The big headline is going to be the contract signing between Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu, as this has been the pinnacle moment for WWE Backlash. On top of that, so expect a contract signing tonight. It's not the only contract expected to sign tonight, as Solo Luca looks to officially make it official, signing her Raw contract with the WWE uh, as she moves forward from NXT. Other things to look out on the card here tonight: Oba's Feme Open Challenge officially begins tonight. We will see who comes out. Will the WWE send out another low card jabroni like Grayson Waller to be destroyed by the ruler? I believe it'll be another kind of low key net card. I think it's going to be something you build it up. I don't think he has anything planned for this PLE this weekend. Possibly, I may be wrong, but you build it up. You build for the next PLE if that's in May, whatever the name would be, and from there you'd go on and um, you build talent up on from that. So I don't expect anyone big that could really put a challenge to Oba. Javon Evans and the Intercontinental Champion Penta will team up to face Rusev and Ethan Page in schedule tonight. Seems like an obvious match to book when Page and Evans both had post-match run-ins after Penta defeated Rusev last week. If Javon and Ethan scores a pinfall for their respective teams, that could be enough to earn themselves the next title shot against Penta. Also, Finn Balor has a rematch against JD Madonna tonight. Finn didn't have much trouble beating him last time. Will Dirty Dom do something different this time to ensure the outcome is different in JD's favor? What about Roxanne? Whose side is she really on? I think she's secretly on Finn Balor's side. Think that field may be set up for a uh, SummerSlam. Adam Pierce says he will try and get Io Sky and Asuka to sit down and lay it all on the line ahead of their match at Backlash this weekend. Roman Reigns and Jacob Fatu aren't the only ones signing contracts tonight. As we mentioned, so Luca is building and will sign her contract to make her a official Raw star as well. The Street Profits keep getting involved in the Vision's business. Does that lead to a World Tag Team title match with Logan Paul and Austin Theory? Does Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins automatically get the title shot? Um, they're kind of like the only team in line unless the Usos want them. Braun Breaker made a pretty good point last week about Seth Rollins not having any friends left him to help him against the Vision's numbers game. But what about Joe Hendry? Don't think Seth has burned a bridge with him yet. If Joe is not too busy performing concerts, he may be open to help Seth. Got the women's world champion, Liv Morgan, needs a new challenger after Judgment Day brutally injured Stephanie Valkyr last week. Morgan interfaced, but did cost Bailey and Lyra Valkyria their tag team match later that night. So maybe that something comes a little bit more. And then also after winning the tag team match last week, Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez calls out Paige and Brie Bella for the WWE Women's Tag Team Championship match. Danhausen needs a tag team partner at Backlash. Like to see that unfold into here. LA Knight knows the Usos eventually is be corrupted now that they are doing Roman Reigns' dirty work again as part of the bloodline. Will the megastar run afoul of Jimmy and Jay as soon as tonight if he keeps saying this to their face? Yet the Women's Intercontinental Championship champion Becky Lynch might want to think twice about issuing another open challenge after she blew up in the face with Io Sky last week. The man does what she wants. Also, more as well. So Raw is tonight, and that is all the time we have for you on our show today. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to our show here on a Monday. We'll have a busy week ahead of us as well. Please hit that like, share, and subscribe button. Have those notifications on so you don't miss a single episode. Please be sure to follow us on our social media pages as we are available on Facebook, TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And be sure to download us, take us on the road with you wherever you go on our audio podcasting at the TNC Sports Talk. Well, we'll be back tomorrow at noon. And until then, my name is Justin. Thank you guys for tuning into the TNC Sports Talk. You guys have a wonderful rest of your day. Take care.